Wallet, we are going to go to Dreaming Tree's website. The website address is 3D SVG. Dreaming Tree has some amazing cards and 3D projects. I used to do tons of 3D paper projects, and I really haven't done any for a while, and I need to get back to it because they're a little bit challenging, but they're really, really fun to do. But that being said, Dreaming Tree has a ton of free SVG files. And the SVG files that they put out are very, for being free files, honestly, they're very impressive. This is the project that we're going to use today. And this is the gift wallet. It's absolutely adorable. I cannot wait to make this. And I will show you how we're going to do this. So, but as far as like free files, there are, you know, tags, there are cards, there are little boxes and things. You know, he always does a bunch of like Christmas tags and things. Little tea light holder. I mean, there's so many of them out here. And two, if you are buying anything from Dreaming Tree, he does tutorial videos that are absolutely fabulous. He makes it so easy to put together any of the bigger 3D files that he puts out. He makes it so easy to put together. In fact, let me show you one of my favorites while we're in here very quickly. And you would think, oh my gosh, this would be so hard to do. And following his tutorial, it was not hard at all. I'm trying to find it. It's one that I actually have made. I made an entire Halloween village. Here we go. An entire Halloween village of paper houses. Okay, so this one, I kid you not, is about 1.5 feet tall and about 1 foot wide and probably 10 inches deep. It's huge. It uses a ton of paper, but the tutorial that Leo has for this makes it so easy to do. You will just be amazed at some of the stuff that you can make using his files and following his tutorials. Another good one for free SVG files is actually SVG Cuts, which Leo from Dreaming Tree used to be a part of. Mary at SVG Cuts puts out a lot of free files as well, and a lot of different boxes and cards and things. Her free files are a little bit simpler, so if you're just looking for, you know, a simple box or embellishments for a page or something like that, there's a bunch of different things out here, because I mean, like, that snowflake is just gorgeous. But that's another good resource for free SVG files. The third place that I go for SVG files is Lori Whitlock. Now, if you have a silhouette, you may be familiar with Lori. She does a lot of silhouette files, but if you go directly to her page, there are lots of card files and little box files and that kind of thing here. And she also does cut files for Doodlebug, which is where my farm file and my one haunted house file, not the one I created for scrapbookers, but the Doodlebug house, you know, that's where these SVG files came from, and they usually have them for every collection that Doodlebug puts out, which I absolutely love. I have tons of these. But Lori does a lot of cards and things, like different kinetic cards and things that are really fun. And at some point I'll probably do one of hers and show you how to do one of those. But for now, we're going to do our gift wallet. So you would add this to your cart. You're going to need to create an account and sign in. Once you've purchased your files, which I did just do 2 of the free ones on this one, you're going to download those. So you would click to download, and depending on how you have yours set up, mine should be asking me where I want to put it, but since I'm on my Mac downstairs, okay, so Documents, Gift Wallet, I want it in my Dreaming Tree folder, and we're just going to leave it in General, and we're going to save it. These will come out as zip files. So now I'm going to come out here, and I'm going to just that's the one I need. I don't always do this on here. I usually do these on my laptop upstairs. I don't always do it on my Mac. So I've unzipped my file. You're going to come in here. You're going to have pictures. You're going to have a PDF that's going to show you the different pieces. So let's go ahead and open that up. So it's going to tell you on your PDF for anything that you download from Dreaming Tree what you're going to need. So in this case, we need the solid cardstock, we need the pattern paper, and then just the optional things. He did a Velcro dot. I'm actually going to use a tiny magnet, your glue, so on and so forth on this. And then your actual files are going to be in this folder that says SVG. So here are the 3 pieces that we're going to upload to Design Space, which I have actually already done that, but I will show you how to do that. And then you're going to have an extras folder. This is going to give you those same pieces with solid score lines. The difference here is, let me find Design Space. So when you get into this file, and I'm going to just insert one of them I've already uploaded just to show you what I'm talking about here. So see where these dashes are? Those, the Cricut is actually going to cut little lines in there for you to fold on. For a long time, as the SVG files were created, most of the machines, when they started doing these, didn't have the ability to score like they do now. As a result, most of the files still come out like this, but they've added in a second file for you with the solid score line. So you could use your scoring tool in Design Space to actually score these lines for you. Personally, working with these, I prefer it to do the little cut dash lines for you to fold on, simply because unless you've got the maker with the scoring wheel, I don't think it scores deeply enough, particularly if you're using artisan cardstock. This just makes it a little bit easier. It's a lot clearer where you're going to make your folds. So I'm not going to use the solid score lines, but you do have that option. So to get your different pieces and parts in here, you're going to get into Design Space. You're going to have, you're going to do New Project. It's going to come in on this nice blank canvas. Actually, I'm going to reduce that back down because I'm not getting the whole screen for some reason. You're going to come down here on the bottom of the icons on the left-hand side. You're going to click Upload, and you're going to click Upload Image. You're then going to click Browse and navigate to wherever it is you've got your files saved. So where is my Dreaming Tree folder? There it is. Gift Wallet, SVG, and we're just going to say Pattern Panels 2, and we're going to open that. So it's going to show you what it is that it's bringing in, and then it will give you whatever name the file name already is, which in this case is Panels 2 Pattern. Typically, I will come in here under Tags, and I will give it a name. So in this case, Dreaming Tree Gift Wallet, so that if 2 years from now I'm like, hey, I want to make that again, I don't have to upload it again. I don't have to scroll through all 500 things that I've uploaded into Design Space. I can search for Dreaming Tree, and I can find the file that I'm after. And then you're going to click Save. So now I've got 2 of those in there, which is fine. It doesn't matter. After you've uploaded all 3 pieces, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to select these. So when you've got your green box around the item you've clicked on, that is selected. Okay. And then we're going to do insert images. It's going to bring them all in. It's going to line them up on top of each other. It's fine. It doesn't matter. I'm just going to drag these all off to the side. And then I want you to notice, so where we've got our score lines on our two different pieces here. These are two separate items within that particular shape. What you have to do is click and highlight that, and then come down here in the bottom right-hand corner and click Attach. That is going to make sure that all those little dashed lines stay where they're supposed to be on top of this piece. You're going to do the same thing on this one. This one doesn't have any little dashed pieces, so we don't need to do that on this piece, just on anything that's got our lines where we're going to fold. Now we can go ahead and go to Make It. And because I'm down to scraps, I actually don't want all of these to cut on the same mat because I don't have enough paper to have them all cut on the same mat. So I can do one of two things. I can move this to another mat. We'll just leave it the same color, that's fine. Or, I'm going to cancel. I can come in here and I can change this to another color. Putting it to another color is automatically going to move it to another mat. This is also going to make sure that it stays oriented the right way, so that if we're using directional paper, we're not cutting this and suddenly, like on this one, my butterflies are running sideways. Okay. So that to me is the easier way to do it, especially if you're new to Design Space. I've used it enough. I probably would just move it to a new mat when I got to the cut screen. So I am going to go ahead and get all of these pieces cut out, and then we'll get this put together. Okay, so one thing I do want to show you. If you choose to use the solid score lines, okay, so here's the file for the base that has the solid score lines. So you'll see on the screen here, we've got solid lines where those score marks are, okay? We still want to attach everything to make sure that everything stays where it needs to. However, so if you go over here under the Layers panel, if you click on this, it highlights everything that's on that particular section of the project, okay? If you want to select only one piece of it, you do it over here on the Layers panel. So if I were to hide that main piece, you'd see there's still those lines there, okay? What I need to do is select where it's just the two solid score lines. And what we need to do, the way they come in when you import them, is they come in as cut lines. If you don't change them, it will literally cut this project at those 2 points rather than score it. So what you need to do is come up here on the upper right side of your toolbar at the top of Design Space, and you need to change this to score, okay? When you do that, it's going to give you a dashed line. That's just how you know it's going to score rather than cut on this file, okay? It is actually going to score those lines. That's just, if you were to take in just a normal project of your own and add your own score line, it's going to come in with those dashed lines like that, okay? That's how we know for sure it's going to score. Now that we've changed those two lines to score, now you're going to go ahead and attach, and then this is going to cut and score your whole piece in one shot. So what I'm going to do, we're going to go to Continue. And I'm doing this so I can show you the difference between the when it cuts with the perforated lines, which if you're doing the 3D projects, you absolutely want it to do it that way. if you're doing cards and things, then the solid score lines are a little bit cleaner. Personally, it doesn't really matter to me. I'll do it either way. And it doesn't want to find my maker for some reason. There we go. Unfortunately, this project is a little bit too big to cut with the Joy, so that's unfortunate, but that's okay. We are going to do medium cardstock because this piece I'm actually not cutting out of Artisan. I am cutting this out of just some of the solids that go with the baby collection. So it's going to tell me first off here, load tools and materials. So right now it wants me to load the single scoring wheel. So I would load the single scoring wheel in my maker. I would go ahead and once it's loaded, click go on the machine. It's going to check to make sure I've actually loaded the correct tool. If I don't have the correct tool in here, in fact, let me just do that now so you can see what it'll do. See how it goes to detecting tool? It's going to read which tool I have in my machine right now. Okay, it didn't detect the scoring wheel, so now I need to tell it to switch it out to the scoring wheel. And then it will read that the scoring wheel is there. So I'm going to figure out where my scoring wheel is. Oh, there it is. And then it will go ahead and score the project. And now it's telling us to switch back to our normal blade. And that's all there is to it. It's going to detect the tool again. And now it's going to cut out the base of our card wallet. Okay, so one more thing. So say, for example, you want to cut this bottom panel a completely different color. Rather than, you can't ungroup this. Normally, something like this would be a grouped, what's the word I'm looking for? Image, where you have three distinct pieces. Normally, this would be a grouped image. In this case, it's not. So, what I would do in this case, I'm going to take this one right here, and I'm going to click detach first off. And then I'm going to just get the pattern only. So I'm clicking up here on the right hand side. You've got this, see how it highlights just your cut marks? And when I click this bottom piece, it highlights those three panels. I'm going to duplicate just those panels. And then I am going to click contour all the way down here. And I don't think you can see it. I think my screen is cutting that off. All the way down here, we're going to click contour. Okay. So what I can do now is say, okay, this bottom piece is the piece I want to cut, completely separate of the rest of this image. So I'm going to, actually I want to cut that piece and this piece, oops, completely separate. So I'm going to click on this one. Oops. Here we go. That one, not that one. I'm going to click on this one. Sorry, this is just really wanting to fight with me today. Over here, I'm going to click on here and see how this kind of goes gray. And if you look underneath here, it's gone. Now we just have these two pieces separate that we're going to cut out of pattern paper. I want this piece to be something different, okay? So what I'm going to do here again is I'm going to click just on those panels. I'm going to go back to contour. I am going to click on all of these items so that they disappear. So the only thing we're left with is that top panel, okay? At which point then we'll attach. So I can cut this out of one color, I can cut these out of something else, okay? To ensure that I remember I want to do them a different color, I'm going to go ahead and change the color so it will put them on separate mats. So let's say for this piece, I want to do this little piece a separate color from this one. I would do the same thing again. I'm going to duplicate this. I'm going to go to contour and I'm going to hide the small piece. So now I've just got that big piece. And then I'm going to do it again on the other one, hide the big piece, and now I've just got the small piece in completely separate files. Easy peasy. Okay, let's go ahead and cut. Okay, so I have all the pieces cut for the wallet, and I just wanted to show you the difference. So with this one, I cut this one with the Artisan, and you can see here, hopefully, how we've got these little perforations for our score line. If you're using the file from Dreaming Tree as it defaults, this is what you're going to have. Okay. This doesn't bother me because honestly, it's not going to be that noticeable. It gives you really, really good fold lines. And if you're doing any of the 3D projects from Dreaming Tree, you absolutely want to use the dashed score marks, not the solid score lines, because when you're folding something for a 3D project, let me see if I've got something handy here. There we go, let's use that one. So, for example, and I made this one probably 10 years ago or better, so you'll see how there's just, you can just barely see those lines. When you're doing a 3D project, you want that because there's always going to be some kind of panel that's going to go over the top of that that's going to keep those from being noticeable, okay? When you're doing cards, you absolutely can do the solid score line. So in this one, and we can maybe just barely see it, this was done with the maker with the scoring wheel. So I can go ahead and just fold that on the score line, burnish it down, and there's our wallet. This is the one I'm actually going to use just because once I got my pieces cut, I really didn't like them on the Artisan. I think it needed a little bit more color to it. So let's go ahead and get this put together. So this is going to be the outside. So, and this is all folded up, back, front. First thing I want to do is get our small magnet in here. So let me get that ready to go. Okay. Does this one not have... Actually, I probably needed to cut a second one of these to go on the inside here without that little centerpiece cut out. So I will go back and do that here in a minute. But for now, we're going to get this on here. And that was just an oversight on my part. I wasn't even thinking about it not having a second piece for that because this piece is actually going on the outside here. Okay. So I'm going to set those aside because I will end up recutting that. Okay, so what we're going to do here, I do want my little butterflies on the front. So I am going to ink the edges of this panel just ever so slightly. I'm going to grab my glue,
And we're going to go ahead and attach this panel. Okay, so we'll just center this up, get it down. And there's our front panel. Okay, we're going to turn it over. I am going to open this up and lay it somewhat flat, and we'll get our back panel on here. Go ahead and put our back panel on. Okay, so there's our front and back. Our inside, we have the little wallet piece where we can put some cash that's going to go up at the top. That has the score lines. I did use the perforated score lines on this, so I'm just going to fold those over and then ink my edges. You of course want to do it on the folded part, not on this outside, because you're not going to see this. This is your tab that's going to fold over and glue down, just like if we were doing a normal pocket on a book. That's how that's going to work. Okay, so we're going to fold all of our little tabs in here. And then same thing, we're just going to center this up. And there's actually two little tiny lines just above the score line here, or above and below, that are your guides as far as how far up or down you want these panels. Okay, so this panel, and this actually was kind of cool and unintentional. So because I was using the back side of some cut aparts, the way this cut actually was kind of neat. But then my little inserts are actually running the wrong direction. So I toyed with leaving it turned over that way because it did turn out really cute. But I think I am going to go ahead and just do it the way it was intended. And we're just going to run glue around the edges of this panel. Okay, and then the same thing again. There is a little mark that's going to help you line that up. Okay, and unfortunately, because I am using the solids that go with the collection, and they do kind of have a white core because I did fold this one way and then the other, I am getting a little bit of a line there, but that's okay. So I will go ahead and put this little decorative piece on here. I'm going to cut another piece with this cut line hidden, so this will cut a solid piece for me and mount on the inside there. And then you could do whatever other embellishing you wanted on here. If you wanted to put some of the little stickers and things on here, you could. Inside here, of course, you can put some cash in there, and then gift cards will fit into these little slots. And unfortunately, my demo gift card that I use to make sure I've measured any cards or things I do with gift cards in them, unfortunately, it is a Cracker Barrel card from like forever ago that I've just been using as my demo one. So there you go. I'm going to get some other little decorations on here and cut this other piece, and I'll be back to show you the finished project. And that's all there is to it. Thanks for watching.